Hi, I'm Beth Trapani, and this is a webisode brought to you by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation, and it's part of a series on the flourishing child and building resilience. And we're speaking today with Laurie Kolka, who is the Director of Curriculum, Instruction and Professional Development with the Pottstown School District.
Hello.
So thank you for joining us today. And Laurie, we're going to be talking about social and emotional learning. And as part of this series, we're talking about something we refer to as ACEs, which is adverse childhood experiences. And things like abuse or neglect or traumatic experiences that children experience in their homes that really impact the way they're able to relate with other children and with adults. So let's start out by talking about what is the school district doing in relation to this?
Sure, absolutely. Education has been identified as a protective factor against the ACEs and the traumatic experiences that some children experience during their lifetime. So we at the school district, that's what we do. We do education. So our part in this is social emotional education, where we're talking about raising self-awareness and responsible decision-making for our students, starting at a very young age in pre-K and building those skills as they grow older.
How do you begin to identify which students might need some extra help? Or is it all students?
All students need these skills. All students are going to need these skills. They're also termed as 21st century skills of the cooperation and collaboration and working together. This is common for every student. So what we're doing is a base curriculum, which would be your core curriculum in social emotional learning. There may be students who need extra support, and we address that extra support in a different way. But what we're going to do in Pottstown is provide this core curriculum for all of our students.
Okay, this is really kind of a revolutionary program for the area in that you really went around to some other school districts and looked at some good models to see what you could bring back to Pottstown and what might work here.
We did. We visited nothing local. We visited Texas, the Austin Consolidated School District in Texas, because they partnered with CASTLE, which is the Collaborative for Social Emotional Learning. It's a research group dedicated to talk about to research the effects of social emotional learning and what that means for the students and how that prepares them for the future. So Austin's Consolidated School District was identified as a premier school for social emotional learning, who has a complete program with the family connections, the academic integration, the curriculum, and also they've built out an entire program to help their students, families, and community really grow in the area of social emotional learning.
And we have a clip that is going to show exactly what this sort of looks like for kids in the classroom, and I believe this is with a principal at Bart Elementary.
That's right, Barth Elementary,
Barth Elementary,
and that principal's name is Ryan Oxenford.
Okay, let's take a look.
What's the most typical advice a parent will give when someone comes home and says, a kid named Mason keeps hitting me in the back? What are the things that happen? Tell the teacher, and what else?
Hit him back.
Hit him back, right? Don't tell the teacher because then you're being passive. Don't hit him back because then you're being aggressive. Be assertive.
We learned about listening with attention and being assertive and not being aggressive or passive, and like how to join in things. Well, we usually act out scenarios where sometimes it's joining in and other times, well, right now we're learning about being compassionate, where you comfort someone. We learned about empathy, where you understand what it's like to be in someone else's shoes, as in if someone were upset or mad, you don't laugh at them because you wouldn't like it if someone laughed at you.
It's really impressive to hear a child that young using language like that and being so self-aware and talking about that. How do you accomplish that?
I think that's one of the most impressive things about a standard curriculum is that vocabulary that gets developed. The students have the same vocabulary as the staff have. The teachers, the cafeteria workers will be looped in. So what we want to do is we want to make this a common vocabulary within our schools, with our communities, and with our families. One part of the program is that home connection as well. So it's very powerful when a student is at school and hearing the teacher talk about using your assertive voice and not your aggressive voice, and then take that home to two siblings who are fighting over a television channel, and how that can apply in the same situation with the family using the same words as well. So what we're trying to do is build a community, a culture of support where we all have that same common vocabulary.
How do you reach parents?
Well, there's lots of ways to reach parents. Right now in our school district at the elementary level, we have a family advisory council that speaks to, that has community activist parents who are very involved in understanding what's going on in the school and shaping, getting their input into the schools as well. So that is one avenue. Another avenue is for wellness fairs, for example. Social emotional learning is as important as your physical health. So you'll start to see this at wellness fairs moving forward as well.
I imagine that it's hard to break that cycle, as we heard the principal say. Parents will say, well, hit them back. Yeah. How do you go about changing and shaping those attitudes?
What we're going to do is we need to really connect with the parents, and I think education is the key. As we mentioned, education is a protective factor, and the more we teach our children, the more they're going to bring home to their parents, and that will open the door for conversation. So when the child comes home and talks about those key words about naming your feeling and calming down, the parent is going to start to hear this vocabulary and wonder where it's coming from. And then we're going to support their understanding through homeschool connections, and then meetings with the teachers and school meetings as well.
Lori, one of the biggest challenges that schools face today is time. And we're asked to do so many things and pack so much into such a small window, and it seems like every year there's increasing demands and mandates. So how do you find time to stop and teach these things?
Right, that is such an important question. This year we started this pilot program with our teachers for social emotional learning, and these were our 60 teachers who wanted to be involved. And one of my challenges to them was, how is this going to look in your classroom? And what they found was, taking the time for social emotional learning, it made the other areas of the day run smoother and quicker. So math class ran smoother, reading ran smoother, because they had this background of being able to communicate positively and effectively in their classes.
That's great. How are you funding it?
Oh, great question. We have multiple funding sources. One of our largest funders is the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. They're supporting our family and community connections with a social emotional learning focus on that. That's one way that we fund it. Our school district has put our district funds into play for this too, because we value this as an important part of the whole child learning.
Great. Is there a way to sort of measure or check in or benchmark how things are going?
Yes, we are evaluating our implementation through survey checklists with our teachers, and that would be on program implementation. As we move forward, we're going to be talking about surveys that measure changes in behavior from students, and then what would also be interesting would be changes in behavior from the school teacher point of view, and then also from the family's point of view too. So those are all things that we're going to do as we continue down this road.
How will it look different at the elementary level with the very youngest up to the high school?
The elementary level starts out with a core curriculum that includes puppets and songs, and then as the kids grow older, the material ages with them as well. So the intermediate students, grades 3 and 4, they view videos, scenarios, they act out scenarios. In the middle school, the topics change might be focused on tobacco and drug use and cyberbullying and appropriate uses of the internet. So it becomes very topical for the age group of the student.
Terrific. It sounds like the school district has lots of support from lots of agencies, and I know that the pottstownmatters.org is one website that we're referring people to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much. It sounds like a fantastic program, and certainly something that's important and hopefully will make a big difference for the school district community.
We believe it will.
So,
Thank you.
again, for more information, you can go to pottstownmatters.org. And again, this has been a webisode brought to you by the Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation.